Okay, hello teacher. Today I will present you my term project. Okay, my program have a class of course that have a private section and public section. In private section is course ID and name of course and the credit of course. And the public section is course that store the course ID, course name, and course credit. So course ID will store by int ID, and course name will store the string name, and course credit will store the double credit. And this is this course ID function. This function will create a new object that int ID, and the course ID will store in the ID object. The ID object, yes, and this is a function get course ID. The function will for get course ID, and this is the function this course name that do that work like the set course ID that will create the new string name and store the name, and get course name for get name of course, and set course credit is store the credit of that course, and get course credit for get course credit. And this is the course and grade that store the course in the course function and have a grade in variable char. And this is class person that have a protect section and public section. That protect section have a first name and last name stored at string variable, and the public section will have the person class store the first name and last name that keep in string first and string last, and the function set first name will create the string first and store the first name of person in first name, and string get first name for get the first name, and function set last name works like function set first name, and function get last name work like function get first name. And this is class student. This class student have a class person that class person is the base class of class student, and the class student will use the information in public section of class person, and the class student have private section and public section. That private section have student ID, num and roll, and tuition pay. So the student class will store the first name and last name from class person, and will store the enroll and tuition paid and list enroll. So the function student, they have the functions, the class student have the function set student ID for set the ID of each student and get ID for get the ID, and the set num enroll for set the amount of subject that will store in num enroll and get the num enroll, and function set tuition paid for show the status of who paid tuition fee already and get the tuition get the paid for tuition for get the information of tuition paid. And this is function print enroll. Print enroll will print the enroll of print enroll will create the size of the size of the list that store the ID and name and credit. Yeah, if the list enroll, if there are two list enroll, they will create the two cost ID and cost name and cost credit. Yeah, and this cal function calculate GPA that will keep the will use the information from list enroll that become to calculate the GPA of the student that will bring the enroll of each course and will sum the credit to divide it by this GPA equal to some grade equal to some credit, and it will return the GPA. So this is calculate tuition fee that will calculate the price of tuition that student must pay from the list enroll that have amount of subject in list enroll, and will calculate in this line that fee equal to some credit and 500 per subject. So it will return to the fee of tuition. Now, this is class not number exception. This card is writing for protect the program from error that maybe user will enter some wrong type of information. That so if the user enter the wrong type of information, it will send it to not number exception class that will print out enter only number and will create the string A message, and the error message will show in A message. And okay, this is function of this program. It is function of cost, function of student, and student with cost, and function of grade and print grade. So our program will start at the main function. That in the main function we have the cost that have a name of cost and the name of cost and in the information of cost that have the enroll and the cost will push back into the cost info in the class. In the class, it will push back the information in cost info that will send into cost class, that is student, that store the information of student that will keep it in student info std info and will send it into push back it into the class student, and our program will print out the this 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 line and ask the user to choose 1 to 4, and if the user not choose or choose the wrong type, that then maybe user enter the character, so it will throw to not number exception. And if the user enter 1, it will process list cost, and if user enter 2, it will process the list student, and if the user enter 3, it will process the student with cost, and if enter 4 will process the grade, and 0 for goodbye. And if the author number, it will enter only 0 to 4 only. And this is not number exception that protect the program from error, that the inform if the user enter the wrong type of number, it will clear that and make the program ready for new input. And this is the choose choice that will show the grade of the student, and it will send the grade to be the digit. Yeah, it will for calculate it into GPA, that if the student have A grade, it will be the 4 for GPA, that if the B is will 3 for GPA, and C for 2 and 1 and D for 1. And this is the function of process list cost that will process the if the user choice 1, it will run to process list cost that will process the cost ID and course name and credit, and it will print out in this function. So it will print out the course ID and course name that's stored in get course name and course credit. So if the user choose to, they will process the list of students that will bring the information from class student that will print will will show the output that student ID, student name, and will print list student. So the function print list student will print out the student get ID that's stored in get student ID function and print out the first name that's stored in get first name and last name. And this is the function process the student with cost that if the that will process the list of students with the cost and will send to print the list student with cost. That this function print list student with cost will print out the course ID, course name, course credit, and grade of each student, and it will print out the GPA of each student, and will print out the tuition fee that calculate already in calculate tuition fee function. And this is function process grade info that will send it into print grade report function. That the function print grade report will print out the grade, the student ID, the first name, the last name, and get paid for tuition if the student is not paid the tuition fee. That is will print out the course ID, course name, course credit, and grade, and will print out the GPA from function calculate GPA, and print the tuition fee from function calculate tuition fee. And if student not pay, it will print out you need to pay the tuition fee of and show the tuition fee that calculates from this function. Yes. Okay, today. So I will run the program first. Yeah. If we choose one, it will print out the course ID, course name, and credit of this course. And if we choose two, it will print out the student information. And if we choose three, it will print out the course, the student, and the course and credit of subject and grade and tuition fee and GPA. And if I choose four, it will print out that if I enter the wrong type of him, it will print out enter only number. If I enter the wrong number, it will now enter 0 to 4 only. Okay, now I will enter tomorrow student, just like first name and last name and ID and the enroll and true if I pay the tuition fee already, and print the information of each subject. That's in out grade of each subject. And because the enroll that we have 4, so we must enter the 4 course. So another course I will the fun English. For okay. So we will declare the information cd info and push back into the class student. Okay. They have some error. Oh, okay. Okay. We'll enter the list of students. So they have my name. And I will enter the grade report. Yes, I have my name and my grade. and my tuition fee. Okay, thank you.